How's it going, everybody? Lunch Crew here with you, Leighton and Chris. How's it going, Leighton? Made it to 6. The rest of it is just, building, Yeah.
And a very shockingly small percentage of them hit 10. So I already know, like at 10, I might retire. So you might have 4 episodes left, folks. Stay tuned.
How do you feel about and keep this in mind? How do you feel about 2 takes? Because that's what we're about to have to do is 2 takes.
What do you mean?
We're gonna have to back up and restart.
Oh, all right.
Because your audio wasn't working at the beginning, and that's my fault. But hey, we caught it at the beginning, not the end. All right.
Not a problem. Wait, are you changing the title? What is White Glove Service?
Yeah, I just want to bear with us. We get this. Good thing we're not using the live as our video. Should be how to let go. Yeah, there we go. All right, time to restart, Leighton. How's it going, everybody? Lunch Crew live with you here with Chris and Leighton. Leighton and Chris. How's it going, Leighton?
Welcome, Breakomaniacs, collectors, and friends, to the 6th episode of the Lunch Crew. Appreciate all of you joining us today.
Great. Nick Gable, no more technical difficulties. Yes. It's quite a busy week in the hobby this week, Leighton. I know you and I have been texting back and forth with a lot of the goings on, a lot of the changes. And I guess we start with the new product change and the new service that Topps rolled out. What do you think?
Yeah, please. I love learning about the new releases from you. So fire away when ready.
So Major League Baseball announced that there would be these jerseys that are their on-field debut of Volpe and several other players. We've known about them for a while. That part is not new. However, what new is they have finally revealed how they're going to be distributed to collectors. And it's as no surprise, they are redemption cards, but these aren't normal redemption cards. Normally you enter a code on a website and maybe eventually they send you your card, right? With these, you still enter the code on the website. However, they contact you and facilitate the transfer of the card. They're calling it white glove service. Also, they will submit to SGC, CSG, or BGS as part of the promotion. Why no PSA? Because PSA, said no, we're too busy, go away, which is kind of odd to me, but it's what they said. The redemptions never expire, and these are going to be some of the most valuable memorabilia cards of any of these prospects. Think Logo Man in basketball. I mean, just think about, like, years down the road, you can say you have the patch from their very first time they stepped on a major league field.
Well, Chris, selfishly, I hope that it becomes the Logo Men of like basketball, because Logo Men are valuable. People chase them. It's good for breaking. And, listen, I want to keep things real on this show. Even though I may not necessarily collect them, I see the value in them. And I understand that if people decide to chase them, It means that they're going to rip product, and whether it be you're speculating on wax to hold it, or you're like us here at Vintage Breaks and we open it, even though it is modern, believe it or not, Vintage Breaks does open modern product. And to me, Chris, even though it's not vintage, I like the notion that if any of these stars turn out to be like a Mike Trout, right, or anything of that nature, these cards are going to be, forget about the value, because I don't want to tout value. I know they're going to be highly sought after. Usually with demand comes, a price that's going to be high, considering there's only going to be one. I think that's really exciting for the hobby. I think it's exciting for collectors. I think it's exciting for dealers. I think it's exciting for breakers. Chris, what do you think?
I think they picked a perfect year to launch this. I mean,
Yeah.
not only is, this is Fanatics' foray, they're still getting their feet wet and still trying out different things. They picked a wide rookie class with a lot of high upside guys. I mean, there could very easily be Hall of Famers and superstars in this rookie class. And not only that, they still have Jason Dominguez, who also wore the patch earlier in the year, Ellie De La Cruz, who also wore the patch earlier in the
Which
year.
they're going to basically use when they issue the official rookies of those guys.
Correct. They will be in the 2024 product. So they're already set up.
Yeah, I'm saying I like the sound of all this. It sounds like more RPA type basketball related things. I mean, look, football RPAs are really big. So there's no reason, and I was going to ask you to close with this, Chris, that I can think of that there shouldn't be big baseball RPAs.
It's always bad. I've always attributed it to just Panini running circles around Tops as far as actual hobby stuff goes. Business wise, license wise, yes, Tops was always better than Panini. But innovation wise, product wise, give me Panini. Um,
Well, with the Gimme Panini, closing there, before we talk about some of the cards that we have for sale today on the Lunch Crew episode 6, we have a few cards we offer for sale every week, and this week is no different. I did professional sports authenticators, but our own public service announcement. Our new website at Vintage Breaks is going to be rolling out next week. So if you can, check it out at vintagebreaks.com. At the very least, check out our stream. We break and stream live 7 days a week on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/vintagebreaks.
Yeah, the new website. One of my favorite things about it is the design is forward facing. Like if you look at it on a cell phone and you're looking at it different oriented, it's gonna hold like it's so easy to use.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's based on Shopify, which is a very popular software that a lot of retailers use on the web.
Great, great. I'm both nervous and excited. I think you've
Well,
seen
I know
my
why you're
nervousness.
nervous.
Yeah.
Because if no one knows that's listening to Lunch Crew now, Chris Gilmore has been working with us here at Vintage Breaks for several years, full time, and even before that, part time. I mean, I feel like I've known Chris since he was 3 at this point, but it hasn't been that long because I wasn't around for the football days. But that'll be a story for a different episode, folks. So, Chris, tell us what cards we have for sale today.
So I picked out a couple, and like I picked out a player that both baffles me why his cards aren't expensive, and a player that's cards should be on the rise if he does what he was drafted to do. The first card is the superstar who just can't seem to get hobby traction because he plays in Kansas City. This is a Sapphire PSA 10 Bobby Witt Jr. And Bobby Witt plays defense, runs, does everything that the modern baseball athlete is supposed to do. Like the game used to be, you could have a Ryan Howard at first base, and you still can, but those are starting to be pretty rare. It's moving more towards athletes, and players like Bobby Witt, Corbin Carroll, Gunnar Henderson all fit that mold. And the fact that you can get this card for $60 kind of blows my mind.
Wow. Well, I mean, for whatever it's worth, I'm a Bobby Witt Jr. fan because we had Bobby Witt Jr. open a few packs with us during a Vintage Breaks experience before he actually hit the majors. It was shortly before. He signed a bunch of baseballs for us. We still have a few of those on hand. And we're always cheering for Bobby. But I agree with you. If you're into modern baseball card collecting, Bobby Witt Jr. is a highly touted prospect who's already showing he can do it on the field. And maybe because some of the downward pressure that the card market has felt, which a lot of the other areas of the world has felt, for $60, I would just look at it as, hey, you're buying a piece of Bobby Witt and some fandom that comes with it, and you actually have some upside. And then if he performs on the field, there's a chance that it could go higher. Just out of curiosity, Chris, what is kind of like the next level if folks wanted to buy? Is it an autographed version of that, or is it a numbered version of that?
It's yellow numbered to 75, and there's a green numbered to 99, gold to 50, orange to 25, Parapashuta, big word, Parapashuta 101.
Well, that sounds like a Scrabble word that Crosby and I will have to learn for next game because we'll be getting into that. But Chris, what do you have up as the next card for sale?
So the next one is it's a basketball player who was drafted to do big things, hasn't done them yet. This is a 2021 Prism Fast Break autograph of Jalen Suggs in a PSA 9.
So what you're trying to do is you're trying to offload your junk here. Thanks, Chris.
Jalen Suggs junk? I mean, that's a high lottery pick of a high upside guy.
So tell the audience who's listening here about Jalen Suggs. I remember him from college, but I haven't heard much in the NBA about him yet.
Well, I mean, 2021 draft. He did sit out the first season with an injury. But like, if you watch if you watch games now, he's putting up 20 points pretty regularly at a point guard position. 20 points is nothing to call your mama about. But however, the consistency's starting to get there, and he's starting to get into the swing of things.
Mama, if you're listening, if I scored 20 points a game, I would call you.
Yeah, yeah, we would, but like Luka's putting up like 30. It's
all right. Well, anyway, I understand your point. And what does this cost?
It's a $50 card, real cheap.
Wow. So is that on card or sticker?
Sticker. All fast breaks are sticker.
All right. Well, for those that didn't know, all fast break autographs that are issued in Prism apparently are sticker autos. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. All right, Chris, let's get to the vintage.
Let's get to the vintage. Yeah, your eyes light up when you say let's get to the vintage.
Oh, come on. It's
all right. So we got this guy's a big deal. I remember there's shots of him running into Yogi Berra's arm.
Yeah, so may he rest in peace. We lost Don Larson not that long ago. This is a 1956 Topps version of Don Larson. Don's rookie is in 54 Bowman. He's got a 55 Bowman card, but believe it or not, his 56 Topps is his first Topps card.
Oh.
So a full 2 years after his Bowman. It is a very popular card. This one in particular, it really looks like it's near mint. It doesn't look X. It's part of the reason why I chose it. I also chose it because Don Larson pitched a perfect game in Game 5 of the 56 World Series, helped the Yankees to win, and still goes down as one of the most iconic baseball moments, if not sporting moments of all time. And so this card, certainly has the appearance of, I have it in front of me, has the appearance of a 7, meaning a near mint card. It is $100, which is about what 5s go for. So if you're looking for a really nice 5 of this card, you appreciate what Don Larson did, and you either don't have his 54 Bowman rookie, or you do have it and you didn't realize his 56 Topps is a full 2 years later for his first full Topps card. Regardless of all of that, I think it's a great card for the price. If you're in the market for a Don Larson, we're not suggesting in any way, shape, or form for investment purposes you should be buying Don Larson, but I do think it's a great card for the price, and I happen to love 56 Topps baseball.
Is that a gray or a white back?
Look at you, fancy pants.
Daniel Lynch asked the question. Daniel Lynch asked the question in the chat.
Oh, well, good. Good. And by the way, folks, if you're not sure and you're listening to the Lunch Crew, these cards are available for sale at vintagebreaks.com. You can use credit, PayPal, etc. The only thing you cannot use to purchase these cards is break credit.
Break, and we started putting that in the title too, so there's no confusion.
All right, Chris, we have one more vintage card. I know.
We do. It is probably from arguably the most popular set at Vintage Breaks. I noticed when we retail sets, this set kind of stands alone.
Well, the T206 set, the 33 Gowdy, and the 52 Topps are really, I guess it's lacking a fourth for the Mount Rushmore. But those are the top 3 baseball sets that come to mind. Certainly would love to hear in the chat, or if you're listening to this show afterwards, let me know in the chat if you had to name a 4th set for the Mount Rushmore of baseball sets. What would it be besides the T206 set, the 1933 Gaudy set, the 1933 Gaudy set to be more specific, and the 1952 Topps baseball set. Well, here today, we have a beautiful example, even though it's only graded a 1.5. It's got great eye appeal for an SGC 1.5. It is the only card of Dizzy Dean in the 1933 Gaudy set. And this one in particular, like I said, is graded SGC 1.5. It is $650, and it has appreciated in recent years. But if you look at that price versus what it would cost you, for example, to choose one on eBay, you're going to be buying one that's going to look a lot worse than this one, meaning it's going to be an ugly one for the same price. So I'm trying to bring value, of course, to the Lunch Crew audience. We appreciate each and every one of you listening. And by the way, we didn't say this earlier, Chris, at least for my cards. I can't speak for you, Chris, but we've done some really fun trades throughout the years. Recently did one with Jim Ector. I actually traded him 3 Gaudis. He traded me back a mishmash of like vintage Hall of Famers, and he's working on the set right now. I've heard some others in our community are working on the 1933 Gaudi set, including Andrew. So the point is, if we have cards up for sale and it's around that holiday time and the budget isn't quite there, but you have cards to trade, well, listen, you're talking to a bona fide baseball card nerd. So if it's vintage cards, I'm likely going to be interested in some way, shape, or form with something you got. So drop me a line anytime. You can email me directly, leighton@justcollect.com. Chris, if you feel the need that you want to, screen the emails and, let me know. No, I'm just joking. You can hit me up here. You can, meaning through email. You can also DM me directly on Instagram, Leighton_Sheldon. It'd be great to hear from you and try to do a trade. Yeah, Daniel's saying it's a good price for the card. He has an ugly one, and he paid $450. Yeah, no, this is a really good. This is a nice 1.5, and you'll enjoy the 56 Topps as well. So anyway, those are the 2 cards for sale.
I got to wave the white flag this week, Leighton. I got like you're this Dean kind of blowing me away here. Like that's a beautiful card.
Oh yeah, no, I'm glad that you're saying that because I know offline I can't wait to tell the staff like I just smashed you.
Yeah.
On the field, 2 for 2. I mean, you can go crawl back into the dugout if you want.
You can take a knee. You got some clock.
Yeah, you can take a knee, whatever you like.
Yeah. All right, that's great.
But let's go from old to new. Let's talk about, speaking of new, some new releases. What do we got on the docket?
So like we're getting to that point in the calendar where things get a little scarce as far as actual hobby releases. You're gonna see a lot of things made for Costco. You're gonna see a lot of things like they made this like specialty box for Costco. You're gonna see them do a lot of retail stuff. The holiday mega boxes and stuff like that are coming out, and that stuff's all fun, impulse style stuff. But we're talking about the meat of the hobby, which is most people watching this will be into. It's Topps Chrome Update is the best of the stuff to come out in this release cycle. It's where those 101 debut patch autos are. It comes in regular hobby in a new format, which is Breaker's Delight. And Breaker's Delight is kind of like think of another borrowed concept from Panini, the Choice Box, where they have a very trimmed down version of the content without so much base cards.
I can't keep a straight face. I think Breaker's Delight, and I'm like, oh my god, are they ordering Chinese food today? I'm not sure. They think there's like some dish there named like Chicken Delight, and I'm like starving. But I did hear about Breaker's Delight because as soon as Sam walked in today, I say hi to him. Second word out of his mouth, he says, "We gotta get more Breaker's Delight." I'm like, what? He's like, we have to get more Breaker's Delight. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah.
I think he texted you.
Yeah, I really agree with Sam. It's gonna be difficult, but I do agree with Sam. But
listen, we'll try. But I do dig this about Fanatics, and I think this should not be taken lightly. I'm appreciative of it. I know I'm grateful of it. I think, of course, the modern collectors are grateful of this. I love the fact they created effectively a licensed baseball RPA rookie of some of the top rookies right now. Baseball itself for these young kids is on fire. Second of all, they didn't exclude retail, right, Chris?
Absolutely
not. You can
not.
pull this anywhere.
Yes.
And one of the things that I found unsettling about NT basketball is, and I know, folks like the guys at Blez, for example, you can buy a spot in like their crazy National Treasures break for like $29, but you don't necessarily get a card. You get like a chance at a card, a thing. It's very expensive, but you can potentially participate. This is my point. Why does it have to be only in National Treasures? Why just for the rich? So I
Right.
do like that I could be with my 8 going on 9-year-old son. We could be at one of these retail establishments, spend an amount of money that we can afford for our budget.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
could be in the car, and I could be like, "Oh my god, I need a holder."
Do this like we call them steering wheel breaks in Facebook groups because they always get the steering wheels, and some people like to flex with their
I know, but
Porsche
I dig
logo.
that. And
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
hopefully they're not just trying to model. Oh, come on, man. We've all been there. We bought a candy bar. You bought food from like the Chinese food local store, right? You bought a bagel sandwich, and like, you don't wait till you get home. You get
Yeah.
into the car and you hit that right away.
Yeah, just the struggle is if you hit something that needs protecting, you better make sure you got something in the glove box. You need to travel with
Exactly.
sleeves and top loaders and card savers, you know.
Appreciate Alfred saying he thinks that Dizzy Dean would make a wonderful addition to anyone's collection. It would for $450. No, sorry,
Yeah.
$650.
Yeah, 650. That was the one.
For $650. Nah, listen, I get it. But I was throwing out the point though, and I don't want to digress here. I think trading is really important, and I do want to credit here Rob from Burbank talks about liquidity. Everyone runs a different business, so I don't think that you should try to run Rob's store and
Mhm.
be as big or as the depth of millions of cards. I mean, you're gonna lose your mind. Spend the rest of your life building that. Build what you think is great. Same thing with the collection. Build what collection you think is great. But we're here to help you. I can't speak for Chris,
Oh yeah.
but I am. Joking aside, my gut or my guess is if there's a card even in the $100 range and you don't quite have the money or the funds, especially with the holidays around the corner, drop us a line offline. We will be happily to engage you in a possible trade. So just let us know. But getting back to the new releases, I'm super pumped about what Fanatics did with Topps, allowing the masses to pull some of these baseball RPAs, which, listen, I'm super pumped about.
Absolutely. And this update, they have used all the big names that they can use this year. There are no big names that are unique to update like you've seen in previous years, like an 18 with Acuna and Otani and
Sure.
Soto. Like these aren't they're this isn't Jordan Walker's first run flagship. So they have to rely on autographs and memorabilia of these players because you can't the flagship rookie's not going to carry it. Um Museum collection baseball is the other release, and this has been a staple
And
since
that's put out by Topps as well.
yes, it's been a staple since '08.
It's higher end.
At when it came out, it was the high end. As all products,
Interesting.
it's been trumped by things like Definitive and other products. Now it actually falls into a mid-range price tag, but it's 4 mini boxes, which I do like, because if you walk into a hobby shop, you can grab a mini box and go, and not feel like you have to sign paperwork. That's the thing. If I feel like I gotta sign paperwork for a box of cards, I'm not buying it. But
Sure.
but
Funny.
like the issue with museum is they haven't really innovated on it like ever. It's been the same since they put in gold frame. It was the first product to ever have gold framed autographs. And they did that because they were experiencing chipping in the cutting process of big, thick cards. So they put that gold frame around it, and that started a museum collection. It's a portrait on a wall in a museum, like the Mona Lisa was the concept for that. And it's kind of it. It can be a lot of fun. It can be, and you can get monster hits out of it. It's just it hasn't changed in a while, and I really wish they would shake that up.
Well, I understand. I just think, as a general sentiment, they did a good job with the fact, as you said, some of these guys have already had flagships,
Hmm.
and I think there's a lot of value. And like I said, to me, does Fanatics and Topps want to do a lot of sales? Yes. Are they for profit? Yes. Might they go public? Yes. So no one thinks they're doing this for charity. I'm just also a realist, right? I collect. I also, consume modern product. I may not buy a lot of it, and I certainly prefer vintage. But make no mistake, man, I hope that I get my son into the hobby, that he likes opening baseball packs. so that we can bond over it. And listen, one day if we pull one of these super duper cards, awesome. And if we don't, I'm certainly gonna be excited for the other folks that do. I like shout out to David Adams and other companies like them that are putting out big bounties on these cards. I think that is kind of like some of the icing on the cake because I don't know how long Fanatics and/or Topps will be always issuing bounties. Maybe we'll see more of it in the future. So I just think in general, I like the way things are evolving. Chris, would you agree?
Oh, I definitely agree. I love where Fanatics is going from the hobby aspect. There's some things business wise, and there's been a few gaffes that I'm like,
Of
but
course.
they've used some of those gaffes as a great
Wait, so from
opportunity.
now on, Chris, anytime you make a mistake for us on Vintage Breaks, we're gonna just do an electroshock. I won't even have to talk to you on the phone.
we're,
Like my
we're
son
already
wears,
doing that.
a patch for his medical condition. You're gonna wear like something that gets an electroshock from Central.
We're already doing that. Just so you know, we've been doing that for
That's why
John.
you've been doing a better job. I've noticed.
John rolled that out a year ago, and he
Yeah, I was
also
thinking. I think they cranked up the voltage about 60 days ago,
yeah.
but
But
I could be wrong.
every third mess up, and you may have seen this on the airline miles, he will fly down and actually issue a swift kick to the backside too.
All right. Well, before we move on, Monty says, and I agree with him, kudos to Fanatics and Topps to giving a one-of-one RPA chance for $10 a pack or in that vicinity. You can't beat it. And in this day and age, honestly, I hear my dad in the background saying, you know how much eggs cost? I'm like, no, Dad, tell me how much eggs cost. By the way, Dad, I don't know if you know, but we talked last week. You told me how much eggs cost.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care if I repeat myself. I'm like, I know, but I do. Well, eggs are expensive. So that's my point is everything's expensive. Everything is expensive. And that was really cheesy. But we're trying to have some fun here on the 6th episode of the Lunch Crew. And speaking of having fun, Chris, I'd like to dive right into the last topic if we could.
Great.
So we're going to get right into the whole how to deal with your cards. It's a time of year of the holidays. We want to, of course, be grateful. We're appreciative for our families and our loved ones, and in some cases, our jobs. I can't speak for everybody. But everyone is a collector, is we're all grateful and thankful for our cards. But the joking aside, at some point, there comes a time. Look at Chris and I, we're selling 2 cards each. But everyone has to sell cards at some point. It's not particularly hard to sell them. But you know what's difficult to do? It's difficult to sell your cards and have a price in mind that is realistic and you're going to achieve that price, or just to simply let it go. So, what I wanted to do is I wanted to give you some advice from, if you will, the horse's mouth. Because believe me, I've been on countless meetings and deals and talked about cards on dates. Maybe that's why they don't call me back. But joking aside, I wouldn't sell any of these cards if I didn't have to. So I'm with you, the collector, if you're listening. But here's the deal. Most of us will sell something. And so something that's really helped me, Chris, and anyone who's checking us out today or in the future on the Lunch Crew, is I try to look at the cards and become unemotional first. So whatever, it's a card, it's a group of cards, it's a set. But once I've decided I can sell this card, or this group of cards, or this set of cards, I then figure out what's the best course of action to do that. And it's very simple for me. If I think that the cards at auction will sell for, or the card will sell for $100, and if I put it up at fixed price, I could get $200 for it. Unless I need that $100, I am likely to put it up at fixed price, fixed price on eBay. But if I think it's only worth $100 and all I'm going to put it up for is about 100, meaning it's liquid, I don't hesitate. I'll sell it myself on eBay. I will give it to Rick Probstein to sell on eBay. I will bring it to a card show to sell on eBay. I will sell it on vintagebreaks.com through the Lunch Crew for $100 or maybe less some fees. My point is, things become so much easier for me. I still like the cards, but I have a lot of cards right now. A lot. I'll just show you in case you're not sure. Not sure you saw this the other day. Give me 1 second here. And we'll be talking about this on Trading Card Therapy tomorrow, because we're about to get potentially a big collection. I want to talk about that. So check this out, Chris and gang. This is what came in. This is not everything. This is from my recent trip to Tacoma, Washington.
That's a
Do you
lot.
see it on the camera, Chris?
Yeah. A lot of cards, man.
So this is my point. I haven't gone through them yet. Once I do, I'll be ready to sell some, if not all of it. But do yourself a favor. Try to, figure out a very small portion. It'll make your holidays more fun. And I'm not saying you need more money for holiday spending for your loved ones. I mean, for you.
You're right.
There is, and I'm being, listen, I want to keep it real on the lunch crew, right? And we're having some fun, but we also want to help people who are listening. There is incredible deals right now from call them big box retailers in our industry. Blowout Cards, who I bought from, has amazing Black Friday sales all month long. David Adams, Steel City, even my buddy Steve Hart at Baseball Card Exchange. I think he does something kind of cool and unique around this time of year. So what I'm saying is if you want to free up some funds before you hit the panic button, you're like, oh my God, Monty's going to text me late. I have to buy 84 Topps baseball again. By the way, Monty, yes, you have a problem. He's asked me before, stop buying 84 Topps baseball. You already have a 17 Don Mattingly rookies. It doesn't change. So free up some liquidity. Use your local eBay consignment seller, national eBay consignment seller, sell on eBay yourself, sell it to us here at Just Collect. We'll pay you very fairly. And if you don't believe us, check out our blog at blog.justcollect.com. Literally have spent tens of millions of dollars on some amazing collections through the years. And those FedEx packages I showed you, I'm going to talk more about it on Trading Card Therapy, my 48th episode tomorrow. And yes, that's right. I was supposed to do my 48th episode last week, and I did. I didn't hit the record button. So I had a trial basis, if you will, for the 48th show. I worked out some kinks, and we're back better than ever for that show. But seriously, getting back to center here about your cards, Chris, would you agree? The moment you become unemotional, it's just so much easier to sell your cards.
It is, and also you have to, with the way I do, like vintage, you're looking at what has happened. With modern, you're looking at what might happen. And you have to look at a player and go, hey, if he reaches full stardom, what does it mean for this particular card? And if the answer is, not a whole lot, some, you should probably get rid of that card and get into something where you can say, hey, yeah, this card's got a lot higher upside.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly, Chris. I think that's a great point. I also would like to throw out there, what if you started a set and you're like, oh my God, I started that 12 months ago, 6 months ago, 19 months ago, and you have $400 in autographs or in vintage cards in a set. You're like, I hit this from Vintage Breaks. I was thinking about starting a 54 Topps set. Meanwhile, you have 17 cards. One of them's a Jackie. You can cash out for $400 that week. Like, you're not completing the set. So unless you don't have another Jackie, get rid of the lot.
Yeah.
That's my advice, is become unemotional first. Then the selling isn't nearly as hard.
You're correct. However, if you think you can build the set. A little Faustine
Well,
Neville.
Here's the thing. If you have a problem, by the way, we're going to put up at the end of the episode, we're going to put up a hotline number. It's direct to Chris, because he'll just help you come right back off the ledge. And with that, we're going to wrap up our 6th episode of The Lunch Crew. I sincerely hope you enjoyed our episode. If you did, please hit the like button, share, so that way more people can learn about our hobby and get more people involved. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
VBLunchCrew.com. Hit it.